Let's make scallion ramp pancakes. Super crispy and flaky on the outside and slightly chewy on the inside, not to mention vegan. This idea came to me so organically, as how could you not think of pairing this seasonal delicacy with this flaky, pan-fried deliciousness? Seriously, it's a match made in heaven. These are super fun to make, so let's dive right in. As you can see here, I'm starting off with the dough. If you're making a big batch, you can use a stand mixer, but I found it easy enough to knead the dough by hand. Slowly add the hot water to the flour and mix at the same time. We're looking for this little shaggy dough consistency. This is super comfortable as the dough is starting to get slightly warm due to that hot water. Slowly add the cold water and continue mixing. Dough flakes should start to form once all the water is added. Next, start to press everything together using your hands. You can add a bit more water if the dough seems too dry, or reverse that, and you can slightly add a little bit more flour if the dough seems very sticky. Knead for about 5 minutes until the dough starts to form. I like doing this in a bowl as it's easy to rotate the bowl and fold the dough over itself. When we're about 80% there, we can throw it out onto a table and continue kneading for about another 5 minutes until the dough is nice and smooth. Once your dough has come together nicely, we're going to wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and allow it to rest on your bench for another 20 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to work on the filling. The filling is a little unusual, but very simple. In a small saucepan, add the oil and bring to a light simmer. When the oil hits temp, whisk in your flour and mix until all the lumps are gone. Cook this for another 30 seconds until it comes back to a bubbly simmer. Then you can add whatever seasonings you'd really like. I spruce mine up with some black pepper, chili flakes, and sesame oil. Give it a good stir and allow this, again, to cool at room temperature. This is going to make applying it to the pancakes easier, as it won't make them too soggy if it is too hot. Now to prep your scallions, simply trim the bulbs off of the bunch. You could save these to flavor soups or stocks later. They're definitely not garbage. Then using only a little bit of the white, but mostly green, thinly slice your scallions. For 6 pancakes, I actually used about 2 bunches of scallions. For the ramps, we're going to do the same thing. Slice the ramps into small ribbon-like pieces. I like getting nice chunks of vegetal bites, so I leave mine on the thicker side. But after playing with this recipe, you can go either way and determine the size of your ribbons for yourself. Now that all of your mise en place is ready, we can start to form the pancakes. Cut the dough into 6 pieces and work on the pieces one at a time. I like rolling it into a log and portioning it as it's easier to determine equal pieces. Use your hands to shape the dough into a rectangular shape to start with. Next, roll the dough using a rolling pin. Ideally, the dough should be long, wide, and thin. I find it easiest to roll in one direction and to just rotate the piece you are rolling. You'll notice how elastic this dough really is, and quite forgiving for that matter. If you're confident, you can pick the dough up and smack it or stretch it against the counter for extra thinness. Just be careful as not to tear your dough while doing so. This is actually how they stretch noodles in Japan, by the way, so pro tip right there. Once your dough is at the desired thickness and length, add your flour paste. Spread out the paste evenly across the entirety of the surface so that the entire thing is covered. Next, you can add your green onions and your ramps, concentrating most of the filling towards the bottom or more so towards you, leaving a small little gap towards the top that would be furthest away from you to basically help ensure that this is going to seal properly later on. Next, gently roll up the dough as tightly as possible. Actually, almost like you're rolling up a fat sleeping bag. We're going to go with sleeping bag. Yeah. Press out any excess air bubbles out of the strip, and then further roll up the long strip of dough in a spiral motion, just like so. Tuck that end piece right underneath, and allow these to sit for about, another 20 minutes or so. We want the gluten to really relax. When you're ready to start frying them off, we need to flatten them out just one more time. So take a rolling pin and gently again press out any air bubbles and rotate the pancake as you are rolling in one direction. We want to get this as thin as possible. It's okay if the pancake starts to tear or the filling wants to come out a bit. They will still taste delicious, but only now look more rustic. I prefer actually when some filling gets exposed, as it gets nice and toasty in the pan. So all these little pieces that are piercing out or whatever, totally cool and will be totally delicious. To cook the pancakes, heat up a pan with a layer of oil on the bottom. Add the pancake and wiggle the pancake a few times just so it doesn't stick. Let the pancake cook first, covered, for only about, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, and then you can take the cover off and then allow the rest to sear on that one side before flipping it. I obviously didn't show you that because I wanted you to get the eyes in the pan the entire time. But this is only going to help steam it a little bit and have the inside cook at the same rate that the outside is cooking at. You can use a spatula to press the pancake down to help with even browning. After about 2 minutes, flip your pancake and pan fry for about another minute and a half or so until the other side is browned. You can either use a cast iron skillet or a nonstick pan. Either will work. If you use a cast iron pan, though, you will need a generous amount of oil to prevent the pancakes from sticking. Now, with these delicious pancakes, we of course need something to dip them in. For a quick dim sum sauce, start with 2 cloves of garlic, grated, about a half a tablespoon of ginger, grated, a quarter cup of soy sauce. I use dark soy as it has less sodium and more rich taste, a tablespoon of sugar, a dash of sesame oil, red chili flakes, a half a tablespoon of mirin, which is a sweetened rice vinegar, but any sweet vinegar will do fine at this point, and of course some optional chives or scallions if you feel the need that you need more of that in your life or in these pancakes. Now, as you can see, these guys are gorgeous. Crispy, flaky, chewy, fresh. You're going to fall in love with these. The best thing about these pancakes is that they can be stored raw or cooked. You can actually freeze these for up to 3 months after they've been flattened. Then just layer them with parchment paper, wrap them tight in plastic wrap, and pop them in a Ziploc bag, and they will still be as fresh as they were today. Look at these incredible flaky layers. We achieved here by rolling out the dough, thin, and then rolling it on top of itself. You see what it did there? I promise you it wasn't all for nothing. Guys, these are super fun to make, and even if you don't have any ramps, plain old scallion pancakes will always hit the spot. I promise. I'm going to take these off for a little spin. I'll see you next time, guys. Stay hungry.